The first night the doll arrived, Evelyn placed it inside the glass case beside her bed. Around midnight, she woke up to a faint whisper, a child's voice calling her name. "Evelyn, play with me." She sat up suddenly, heart pounding. The house was still, only the ticking of her old clock breaking the silence. She glanced at the doll. Its glass eyes seemed to glimmer faintly in the moonlight, as if they were wet. Evelyn shook her head and laughed nervously. "I've been watching too many horror shows," she told herself, and went back to sleep. But the whispers came again the next night, and the next. Each time a little clearer, a little closer.
By the fifth night, Evelyn was sure something was wrong. Whenever she entered her bedroom, she felt the doll's gaze follow her. If she sat by the window, the eyes looked toward the window. If she stood by the mirror, the eyes reflected directly into hers. She tried to convince herself it was just her imagination. But then, one afternoon, she found the doll's head turned slightly to the left, though she was certain it had faced forward the night before.
She called her friend Clara, who often visited to help her organize her collection. Clara laughed it off. "It's just a trick of the light, Evelyn. You need rest." Evelyn smiled weakly, but deep down, fear began to grow.
A week later, Evelyn decided to photograph her collection for an online antique forum. When she viewed the pictures on her laptop, something made her blood run cold. In every photo of the Annabelle doll, the eyes looked different. In one photo, they seemed wider, in another, slightly turned, and in one, horrifyingly, the eyes were looking directly at the camera, glowing faintly red.
When she zoomed in, she realized the eyes weren't made of glass at all. They looked like real human eyes. She dropped her laptop, trembling. Her breathing grew heavy. "It can't be," she whispered. That night, she locked the doll inside a cupboard and taped it shut. But at 3:07 a.m., the same whisper came again, right beside her bed. "Why did you lock me away, Evelyn?"
The next morning, Evelyn drove to the local library. She searched through the archives about Mrs. Hargrove and the mansion where she had bought the doll. One article from 1874 caught her attention. It spoke of a little girl named Annabelle Hargrove who disappeared mysteriously. Her parents had hired a spiritualist who believed the girl's soul had been trapped in her favorite toy, a porcelain doll. The family tried to destroy it, but the doll wouldn't burn. It was later sealed inside a glass case and passed down through generations until Evelyn bought it. Her hands trembled as she read the final line. It is said that Annabelle's spirit still watches, waiting for someone to play.
That night, Evelyn decided to get rid of the doll. She took the cupboard key and opened the door, but the doll was gone. Only a small red smear was left on the shelf. She froze.
A drop of blood rolled from the top of the cupboard and hit the floor. Then she heard soft footsteps behind her, bare feet, small like a child's. When she turned around, the doll was standing on the table, its head tilted, eyes shining faintly. Evelyn screamed and stumbled back. "Stay away!" she shouted, though she didn't know who she was talking to.
The next morning, Clara came to visit. Evelyn looked pale and shaken. "You look terrible," Clara said. "Didn't you sleep?" Evelyn whispered, "It's the doll. It moves on its own." Clara sighed. "Show me." They went to the bedroom. The doll sat silently in the glass case again, as if nothing had happened. Clara laughed. "See, it's fine." But when she leaned closer to look at the doll's eyes, she gasped. "Evelyn, these eyes, they look real." Before Evelyn could answer, the glass case cracked loudly. Both women screamed. Clara stepped back, cutting her hand on the shattered glass. The doll fell to the floor, and its lips curved into a faint smile.
Over the next few days, Evelyn became obsessed with the doll. She stopped eating, stopped answering her phone. Her neighbors saw her through the window, sitting on the floor, talking to the doll. "Yes, Annabelle, I'll stay with you forever." Clara grew worried and broke into the house one night. She found Evelyn sitting in the dark, rocking the doll like a child. The doll's eyes gleamed, and Evelyn's eyes looked lifeless, almost glassy. "Evelyn!" she cried, shaking her. But Evelyn turned her head slowly, smiling in a voice that wasn't her own.
Annabelle doesn't like strangers.
The next moment, every doll in the room turned their heads toward Clara. Hundreds of glass eyes stared. The air grew cold. She ran screaming from the house. 2 days later, police entered the house after Clara reported Evelyn missing. They found no sign of Evelyn, only her clothes on the bed and the Annabelle doll sitting in the middle of the floor. But something was different now. The doll's eyes, they were unmistakably Evelyn's. The case was closed as a disappearance. The doll was sent to the local museum for safekeeping.
A month later, a security guard named Tom was doing his night rounds in the museum. He passed the doll's display case and shivered. "Creepy little thing," he muttered. He noticed a small crack on the glass and leaned in to inspect it. The doll's eyes suddenly moved, following him. Tom stepped back. "What the hell?" Then he heard a whisper. "Tom, play with me." The next morning, the guards found the display case empty and Tom's security hat lying on the floor. A few weeks later, the museum held an auction to sell off unused items. A young woman named Rachel bought a porcelain doll for $10, thinking it would look lovely on her daughter's shelf. The doll wore a faded silk dress and had eyes so real they almost looked alive. As Rachel placed it in her daughter's room, the little girl smiled. "Mommy," she said softly, "she just blinked."
Rachel laughed.
Oh, honey, dolls don't blink. That night, as the moonlight spilled across the room, the doll's eyes slowly opened. Playtime again. And in the empty silence of the house, a child's giggle echoed through the hall.